It's magical, it's delightful, it's the closest thing you'll find to a successor to Calvin and Hobbes. Hi everyone, I'm Jacob, I'm the Cowhat Librarian, and I'm here today to talk to you about Phoebe and Her Unicorn. Now, this is Unicorn Famous, the most recent release in the series, but I'd like to talk about the series in general. Dana Simpson has been writing this series for a few years now. It's a newspaper comic that is also posted online, and in addition to the daily strip and the collected anthologies, Simpson has also released a couple standalone graphic novels using the same characters in the series. And Phoebe and Her Unicorn is delightful. Phoebe is an average girl, and when she goes for a walk one day and tries skipping a rock on a pond, the rock skips across the pond and hits a unicorn in the head. Now, rather than being mad, the unicorn is grateful. She'd been staring at her reflection and was so transfixed she could not look away until Phoebe's errant rock rescued her. So the unicorn introduces herself as Marigold Heavenly Nostrils and offers to grant Phoebe a wish as thank you for saving her. So Phoebe thinks fast and asks for 1,000,000 gold pieces. And Marigold tells her she won't do that. And Phoebe asks for superpowers. And Marigold says she won't do that. And Phoebe asks to have Marigold as her best friend. And Marigold says, how about those gold pieces? It's delightful. They end up as wonderful, charming friends, and they have everyday and magical adventures together. Their friendship is real and genuine, and they have the most delightful interchanges and wonderful word plays. Phoebe is able to take Marigold everywhere, including to see her parents and the school, because of the shield of boringness that prevents humanity from basking in the wonderfulness of unicorns. And so it becomes second place to see Marigold just giving Phoebe a ride to school, or hanging out in the living room with her parents on a rainy day, or talking to Phoebe's nemesis alongside her. They run into various other magical creatures like the goblins that end up being friends with Phoebe's nemesis. They end up seeing Todd, a dragon who throws up candy during Halloween. They end up meeting Lord Splendid Humility, another unicorn who is so wonderful that he must disguise himself in garbage and with bushes to make sure that vanity doesn't overtake him. It's wonderful, and it's very, very, very well received. My library has 2 copies of the first book in the series. It has done amazingly well for us in terms of circulation, and I haven't heard anyone yet say that they were disappointed with it. It's delightful. An example of one of the middle range comics for this series, Phoebe and Marigold are playing poker, and Phoebe comments about Marigold having a tail. Marigold mishears her and says that she has a tail. Well, it happens that when Marigold has a good hand, her tail starts wagging back and forth, and Phoebe's identified this tail. It's delightful wordplay. It plays to their friendship. It's a fun little joke about poker players and indicating whether they have a good hand or not. It's delightful, and all in a quick little comic strip. It's a lot of fun. If you or the reader in your life are looking for a many-year-later follow-up to Calvin and Hobbes, if you want something that's friendship and real world with a little bit of extra magic in it, I highly, highly recommend Phoebe and Her Unicorn. I can't recommend it enough, in fact. Now, with that said, there are teeny tiny spoilers ahead as I talk about the deal breaker. Now, the base series for Phoebe and Her Unicorn is delightful, and Dana Simpson has done an incredible job with it. The only disappointing part are the standalone graphic novel stories. One was The Magical Storm, and I believe another one was about them attending a drama camp. I don't remember right off the top of my head. And those stories are fine. It's just that they lack the pacing and humor that's found in the day-to-day strips. It's harder to have a joke every page when you're telling a longer term story. And while it did give Simpson a little more time to delve into Phoebe and Marigold's relationship and let them express things in a way that didn't require a setup and punchline every 3 panels, it just fell a little flat. The funniest joke in the whole book, as I remember, was that this ancient legend Marigold had been talking about was something that happened less than a couple months ago, if I remember right. And that was funny. And the idea that Phoebe's friend Max would end up with his own magical companion after this was a fun setup for other future stories. But on the whole, it fell a little flat. I was disappointed. So while I absolutely recommend Phoebe and Her Unicorn, maybe if you intend to read the standalone graphic novels, go in with slightly lower expectations and hopefully you won't be disappointed like I was, because the rest of it is gold. I love it. With that, thank you for listening to me ramble about Phoebe and Her Unicorn. Please like and subscribe, and be sure to check back to see what else I'm going to talk about from the Cowhat Library. Thank you. Bye now.